In 1808, Spain was conquered by Napoleon, who was conquering most of Europe. This is important for Mexico because this pushed a lot of Mexicans into their first foray into wanting independence. And so in 1810, you started seeing a lot of ideas come to the surface about the abolishment of slavery in Mexico, as well as elimination of the castes, the different segments of society. And this is really important because it was basically throwing off the veil, or throwing off the heavy blanket of Spanish society, and giving Mexico a early identity of its own. And so this is important. So you have, as a lot of political ideas, you had two different sides. You had the Yorquinos, which were the liberals, and then Escoceses, which was the conservatives. They wanted to be heavily reliant upon the Catholic Church, whereas the liberals, the Yorquinos, kind of wanted to have it, an individual, each person for himself, kind of a direct democracy. Modern day California has such a thing. Where each person has a lot more importance on the grand scheme of things. So Father Hidalgo is one of the early voices of this. He was executed pretty early into the movement in 1811, and he later, his successor, Jose Reyes Morelos, was executed in 1815. But these are your early voices that are gathering everybody up and fighting back against the Spanish government, which is weakening at this time. In 1812, King Ferdinand VII of Spain is ousted back in Spain, and that gave a lot more fervor and enthusiasm to Mexican independence. And so you had Iturbide, who later he was known as Emperor Augustine I, Emperor of Mexico, not of Spain. He was what the hombres de bien all pretty much said was the father of the Mexican Revolution. He takes power and he later abdicates in 1823, given the presidency. In 1824, Mexico officially becomes a republic. Now, the first president, Victoria, he's only there for 4 years, but after those 4 years, everything kind of starts to fall apart again. And so this gives rise to Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, later styles himself as the, quote, Napoleon of the West. He is a private in the Mexican army who kind of like works his way all the way up to El General of the thing. And so Mexico at this time is a little bit of a military dictatorship, but not much. He, over the next 30-ish years, is in and out of power about 11, 12 times. They kind of like go back and forth. Him and his vice president go back and forth. But he takes a big hit when he loses Texas. And then again, when he loses the Mexican-American War. So, that was kind of a black mark on his record. But there is a facet that rises about this time, and it is the dreams of stability. And so where that is from the time of Mexico beginning to fight for its independence in 1810, 1811-ish, until they finally have a republic, and then the republic goes away and it's a military dictatorship. Santa Anna's there, and then Santa Anna leaves, and you have all this flip-flop back and forth, and the people of Mexico are just saying, hey, just give us something to be like reliant on as stable. And so they model themselves after the United States.